Hello and welcome everyone, this is Dmitry and we are having yet another network programmability stream. The topic of today's stream is going to be network testing, and as always I'm going to tell you more, and we will start in I don't know, like 15 or 20 minutes, but before we will actually deep dive into today's topic, I would like to share a couple of things with you. So actually, you know what, before doing that, let me actually tell you in a couple of words what we are going to do today, and then we'll continue later down the line. So here we are going to write, today we are going to write tests which well verify your network health per se, and it can be whatever whatever you want. It can be cabling, it can be your routing, it can be your spanning tree, it can be if the path taken throughout the network is correct. It can be anything you want. I do believe it's a low-hanging fruit in network automation, and I think that not so many folks realize that. And this is something that you can easily implement and add on top of it, and get a lot of value from it with almost with risk close to zero, since you are not going to do any changes on the network. But okay, I'm going to tell you more about my thoughts here, and we will actually start writing some code later. Right now I would like to share a couple of things with you. So first of all, I have been absent for almost a month now. So the last stream we had was at the end of November, I think, and so almost, I think, like 4 weeks ago or so. So what happened? So 1 week I was like super busy, and I knew 100% that I'm not going to do a stream, so I canceled that. Then I had business trip to Madrid, and so I also had to cancel that, since I don't stream when I'm not at my home, with all of my streaming gear per se. And then after I returned, I got cold, which was severe. Well, I wouldn't say like severe, but it was worse than usual, and for like it has been lasting for 2 weeks now. And if you can hear me, well, you probably can hear that I'm still not 100% healthy. So last 2 weeks weren't so great, and I had to cancel those streams, that one stream as well. I'm still recovering, but I feel so much better that I decided, okay, I can't postpone this anymore. So yeah, here we are. There's an interesting question in the chat. I'm going to address that in a couple of minutes. So another thing that I would like to share with you is we are having 1 year stream anniversary. I think it was on 24th of December, or maybe 23rd. I don't remember exact date, I could check, but I just don't recall. And yeah, I would like to say thank you, folks, for your continuous support, for your questions, for your participations, for your feedback. During this year, it has happened so many times to me that I was going to some like either internal or external event, and people were coming to me and saying that they were watching either my live streams or recordings on YouTube, and they were helpful for them, and they know me from that activity. So it feels pretty nice. I also do get a lot of feedback online as well. And I really do appreciate your support. Everything that the main reason I'm doing streams is mostly for myself to have an allocated time slot to work on some of network programmability stuff, but also to share my journey with you folks. And if it helps even one person, if some stream or some recording helps even one person, I think it's a success, at least from my perspective. So I do appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I do hope that we are going to have another great streaming year. So there are a couple things that probably are going to change in the next year. So one of the things that I have noticed is that my list of topics is getting exhausted, and I say this almost every stream. There are not so many interesting things or technologies that I would like to cover. So one of the things that is still on the list is CI/CD. Another one is a little bit more of the NSO to do like services there. But other than that, I do not have a lot of other topics on my watch list. I that said, I still do have a lot of ideas for like open source projects related to network programmability. So I'm still involved in Nornir. I do have some my own ideas, and there are a bunch of them actually. But I also know that those streams are not really that helpful for wider audience. So on those streams I usually mumble something and then write code most of the time, something that I have in mind, and I just know that they are not so helpful. Like I will still have those ideas and I will still work on them, but I know for a fact that they just not so interesting to people. So what this really means is that most likely my cadence of streams is going to be less frequent. So last year I've been doing like mostly one stream per week, and most of the time I was following it unless I have some trip or something like that. So it's very likely that in the 2019 it's going to be less frequent, or maybe I'm going to still do some like live coding for my open source projects, but probably I'm not going to record those or something like this. I do not know yet. So if you do have some cool ideas, please do let me know. I'm always open for your feedback. In fact, some of the previous streams, the topics for those were chosen based on your feedback. So yeah, if you have some either like interesting idea in your mind, or you have to do something at work that is related to network programmability and you want me to cover that, please do let me know and I will evaluate and maybe cover it on the stream. So before moving forward, Dobry Tank, hi, nice to see you on my stream. Thank you for following. Keisa Dix, thank you for following as well. I also would like to say thank you to subscribers who supported me with some amount of money. I really do appreciate that. But even if you don't want to spend any money, that's fine with me. Any kind of feedback, any kind of chat activity, anything like that is support, So I do appreciate that. As I told, there's one question in the chat about GNCIA. I'm going to cover it in just a moment. There is a message, hey man, we learn a lot of things is how to make and test infrastructure. Nice, awesome, that's very nice to hear. So I do hope you find some stuff from the stream useful. Though today I don't think we are going to do like state-of-the-art network testing. I think we are going to start small and then improving over time. You will see later what I mean by that. I was thinking before the stream like what exactly I'm going to cover, and I decided that today's network testing stream is going to be as down to earth as possible, with using as less new tools as possible, so that it's easier for people to get started, and then we are going to improve over time. So, okay, going back to topics that I wanted to share with you is I have an interesting idea for January or February. I'm not sure about the schedule yet, and it's not 100% decided, but it's very, very likely that we are going to have exclusive in terms of the topic. So maybe it's something that it's not yet released or something like that, but also exclusive in terms of the format. So maybe it's not only me who is going to be on the stream. I do not know yet. This is in the works. It's still kind of like in discussion phase, and I also have to make sure that the time works for everyone. But this is something that is in the works. So I do hope that soon I will be able to announce exactly what I have in mind. I'm pretty sure that a lot of folks, not necessarily. I think if we are going to get this sorted out and set a date, I do believe this stream is going to be very helpful for both network engineers who do not touch network programmability, as well as network programmability folks as myself. So stay tuned. I'm going to announce that separately on Twitter and other social medias. Okay. Maybe also, yeah, you could try guessing what topic I have in mind or something like that. I'm not going to confirm or deny, but you know, let's do some hype, shall we? Okay, another topic is GNCIA and GNCIS DevOps. So this year, I think somewhere in May or something, or June, I don't remember the date, I had the chance to do a Juniper exam for free, and I selected GNCIS. This is Juniper Specialist exam for DevOps track. So I passed that, but I didn't get I passed an exam, but I didn't get the certification itself, because another prerequisite was GNCIA, the lower one for the Junos one, the one that covers like basics of like networking and operating system. I didn't do that, and then later, I think in September, they changed the prerequisite from the GNCIA Junos to GNCIA DevOps, and I had another chance to do a free exam. So I think on Friday, 2 days ago, I did GNCIA DevOps, I passed it, and with these two exams I was able to get an actual certification for the DevOps track for Juniper. And it has been fun. GNCIA DevOps is actually very easy if you have some knowledge about Python, Ansible, Netconf, XML, and JSON. you can probably pass it without any prep. GNCI DevOps is a little bit more vendor specific, and you need to like do some hands-on and to read something more about the things on their blueprint. I was reading Automatic Junos Administration book. I was reading some of the Day One Juniper series. Those are like kind of like small books on some topic, as well as I was doing some hands-on on virtual MX platform to get familiar with what they want. So in a couple of words, this is the DevOps track. It's basically their network programmability certification. So yeah, it covers like different network programmability APIs that they have on Juniper. And there is kind of like a question: don't you work for Cisco? And yes, I do, and I am not ashamed to even announce that I passed a certification from competing vendor. And the main reason why that we are all biased, and I think people who are working for vendor, they are even more biased, since we do have to deal with our equipment 99% of the time. So because of that, your knowledge is kind of skewed and biased. And since I had an opportunity to do the exam for free, I took it, and so that I could be less biased, so that I could understand where the industry is, what are other vendors doing in this space. Is there something that my company can learn, or some interesting approaches that I then should follow up with our business unit or something, or maybe I don't know, some training is missing in network programmability space, whatever. I do believe that doing something like this, not only increases your knowledge, but you get a different perspective on maybe the same or different problems, and it's very helpful to reduce the bias and actually makes you better as the like specialist in the field. Instead of being like a religious fanatic, you can actually have some evidence and arguments of what is working, what is not working, and so on and so forth. So hey Dmitry, I would be interested to know the NPDESI was as well. What extra material do you think one needs in addition to Cisco course? I don't know, I haven't passed NPDESI yet. I did the course on the learning platform. I did NPDESI and NPDEF to recertify my CCIE, and it was very good. I do have some things that I didn't like, but in terms of the like content itself, I do think NPDESI is quite solid course. And since I haven't tried the exam itself, so I don't know, but I do believe it's going to be enough, but I have no evidence for that until I actually try exam. Actually, I am going to try it in January. Not now. If only Cisco could have a single S like Juniper and not an OS per product family. I hear you. Yeah, but it's not like I can really comment on that. It's kind of like the history and past of acquisitions and stuff, and it is what it is. So yeah, it's not like I can really comment on that. Okay, so yeah, the certification was fun. I was I was glad I did that. I'm not sure I'm going to do it again, if my cert expires or something. Um, but I'm happy I do that anyway. Okay, another thing is Nornir 2.0 release. So I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Finally, we went out of beta and we actually have a major release, which is not release candidate, which is not beta. I'm really happy for that. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time and opportunity to actually work on some of my features that I implemented for the Nornir to release them in time for 2.0 release. So it's still on my to-do list, but I just didn't have time to do that. I'm sorry for that. And the last thing that I want, if you haven't checked that out, you definitely should. I'm going to use Nornir 2.0 in my stream today, but you definitely should check that out. I do believe that Nornir is the best network automation out there, and this is my go-to choice whenever I need to do any kind of network automation. And the last thing that I wanted to kind of talk about briefly is self-care. I have been so if you know me personally, you probably know that I almost never rest. I I can watch TV series here and there or something, but in general even if when my working day finishes, I still do some open source work, and I still do some open source work on the weekends and on my stream or stuff like that. So I don't really rest a lot, and I have noticed that at the end of the year I did have a lot of fatigue, and I didn't feel well from mental perspective, that and also I had a lot of aggressive deadlines on the work at the end of the year. So during this last week, which is a holiday week, and it's a Cisco shutdown, so almost no one is working as well. So I decided that I'm not going to do any kind of IT stuff, and I have been doing much better. Have been feeling much better. So since I've last Saturday, I haven't written a single line of code. I don't think I read any kind of blog post, technical blog post or something. I closed all of my work communication on my phone, on my computer. I'm completely, out of this IT world for a week, and I have been feeling much better. So, I'm not going to give you unnecessary advice, but if you, I hope that you're getting some rest too during this holiday period, and yeah, if you don't, I really advise you to do that. You will feel better. But I am already feeling that okay, my holidays are ending, but I'm all pumped and ready to get back into it. Um, so yeah, looking forward to New Year. I do wish you a happy New Year, and yeah, I hope I hope I wish all the best to you and your family, and I hope that the next year is going to be another great year in your career and in your life. And I hope you will stick with me for the next year too, with my streams. That would be awesome. Okay, enough talks and stuff. Let's actually get into today's topic, which I think is very cool one, and not many people realize that yet. So, network testing. Um, so here's the thing. I don't think a lot of people really like to do testing at all. And it's very overlooked area in our infrastructure. And this is something that I do believe we can automate and we can get a lot of value. So imagine a situation like this. You do a software upgrade across your network, and you did a software upgrade and then something didn't, after upgrade something doesn't work, okay? And then you're starting troubleshooting, trying to find what was the root cause, blah blah blah, whatever. Maybe at some point you have to actually roll back to previous software version and stuff, but imagine if you already had some kind of tests for your network and you could actually say with some degree of confidence that yes, okay, my network is working the way I expect it to work. That would be so much better. Not only you could run this kind of tests before and after it changes to verify that something is working the way it should be, but you could also run those periodically to make sure that your network is in the state that it's supposed to be. Probably I'm a little bit exaggerating, saying like, network without any tests. I'm pretty sure everyone's still doing some tests, some kind of manual tests to count too. So like, you did your software upgrade and then you went somewhere, checked that software version is indeed correct. Then you did some ping test or trace test from your hosts or whatever to make sure that your path is still valid, or you checked your routing table to make sure that your router is still okay, or whatever it might be. I'm pretty sure people are still doing that, at least manually. At least one time they are doing that, after configuring some routing protocol, you would actually go ahead and verify that it's working the way it's supposed to work. But over time, I don't think people do a lot of like they don't really do a lot of test cases later down the line because they think the things are not related to each other. So, for example, you're doing a software upgrade, right? And you probably will verify software version, and probably you verify one or two applications that you have, that to make sure that okay, it's still working the way it's supposed to. But what you don't do is you don't have like a big set of test use cases which you could run and then verify that yes, indeed, everything is correct. So software version is the way it's supposed to be, my spanning tree route is the way it's supposed to be, my cabling according to CDP is correct, my OSPF LSDB is correct, my pass according to the network is correct, and stuff like that. I don't believe people are doing that manually. And this is something that you can actually do. I think you can start building this set of test use cases and then run whenever you want, either periodically or whenever you are thinking to do a change. And then this set of test use cases just grows over time and you keep it. And not only you can run them, but they also describe your infrastructure in some different way. So maybe from like low level design perspective, where you could say, okay, according to my design, my spanning tree route should be this particular switch for this particular VLANs. So you could write a test case for that and then run it whenever you want, and then when this test case fails, you can check, you can double check, maybe your network design requirements have changed and you forgot to update tests, or maybe you actually encountered some problem which you were able to find much earlier than you would you would find. So I I strongly believe that network testing is very useful, and it's low hanging fruit from network automation perspective, mainly because you don't have to do any network config changes, so it's much more safer, let's put it this way, than any other type of network automation. You're doing some show commands here and there, you're gathering some stats, and then you're validating those with your documentation, or you could actually build some kind of dynamic, I don't know, topology or something that would be actually your documentation. That is another thing that you can do, even though that is not exactly network testing, but it's still very close. Like one use case would be for you to build like your diagram of your L2 or L3 network. Another case would be actually building that graph and then verifying according to your docs. So so from my perspective, there are two things that are low-hanging fruit in network automation. One thing is day zero templates, so day zero provisioning. When you have an empty device and you would like to build a day zero config for that, it's very easy to do with templates, with GG templates and some variables, stuff like that. And it's very easy, and you should definitely do that if you're just starting network automation journey. But network testing is this yet another area which I think is just overlooked, and people don't think it's valuable, but I do believe it is. At any point in time, you could run your test suite, and then check, okay, yes, my network is working the way it's supposed to. So today we are going to build something, build something with caveman tools, I guess, without using a lot of other like framework and tools. It will be quite simple, quite like straightforward, and then like we'll see how much time we'll have left, and we'll try to kind of improve things, and stuff like that. So I have some network here which I built just before the stream. It's not 100% configured, but I didn't have a lot of time to build the network and config for it. So I have here 4 devices, 4 PCs. I have here 2 access switches, and I have 2 distribution switches which are collapsed core, so they run as distribution and core at the same time. I have my edge router and I have my ISP router here. And also you can see that there is another switch. This represents management network, so the first interface of every device is connected to the switch and then connected to this cloud, which is my management network basically. So this is how we are going to run everything from there. So I don't think I have a lot of stuff configured. I have L2 network here mostly configured, so I have like spanning tree configured, and I also have an IP address which is statically configured on these PCs, and I think I actually have to add something here. So the network here is 172.20.00/16. And I have 2 VLANs. I have VLAN 10 and 20. So PC1 is VLAN 10, PC3 is in VLAN 10, PC2 is in VLAN 20, and PC4 is in VLAN 20. So right now they are actually able to ping. So this guy have So this guy have this IP address 172.20.10.101, and I should be able to ping 172.20.10.103, which I can, which is PC3 right here. So I can ping it right here, and in the same way I can ping the PC4 in VLAN 20, but they can't ping each other in different VLANs because there is no L3 network. I didn't configure any IP addressing and stuff. Probably we'll do it later, but yeah, that is not done yet. So one of the things that we can do, I also configured the spanning tree priority on the DSW1 and DSW2. So I think DSW1 is a root everywhere, and like for VLAN 10 and 20, and DSW2 I think it's like secondary root or something. Excuse me. Yeah, so occasionally, I'm sorry, occasionally I cough and sneeze. If it's going to be bad, I will try to mute myself, but I don't have like a physical button on my mic, so it will require some, doing it on control panel. So, but I do apologize for that in advance. So yeah, I have this network, I have this prefix. I don't have a lot of IP addresses configured. I do have IP addresses for management. So if I go here on, let's say this guy, I have here an IP address which is reachable from my management station, which is my my Sapphire server. So if I do ping 192.168.122.41, I can ping it, and I think I should be able to SSH to it as well. I also do have to tell you that the whole lab is virtual, and I do run legacy iOS, not ISXC. So what this means is I will not be able to use network programmability features like netconf or restconf. So you have to fall back to CLI parsing, but it's fine. Yeah, so I'm able to SSH to this guy as well, which is good. There's a question in the chat. Dima, switch on the right hand is just a span collector. No, it's not. So this switch is unmanaged switch, part of GNet 3, just to be able to have my management network set up. Yeah, so yeah, basically every management port is connected to the switch, and then my management station is connected to the switch, so that I am able to access every single device here. So yeah, it's not span collector or anything, just management switch. Okay, so here I am. So let's kind of like have some plan in mind, and we'll start building on top of it if we will have enough time. So one of the things that I think would be good is just to verify that we have VLAN 10 and 20 and every switch, because those are our switches. Maybe actually not only that, I should go ahead and name them somehow. So maybe let's actually go ahead and do some config. Hold on. So I'm doing some config on the right screen. I have like my text editor open, so just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to name the VLANs here. Okay, so the config here is pretty straightforward. I'm just naming the VLANs. I already have them created. And one of the test cases that we can have is just verifying that we indeed have those VLANs which are named appropriately on every single switch, but also we can have that I configured that TSW1 is spanning tree root. So if I do show spanning tree VLAN 10, you can see that it says this bridge is the root, and then this guy shows spanning tree VLAN 10. Oh, this is not root. So it shows spanning tree VLAN 10 and shows spanning tree VLAN 20. This bridge is the root. So we could also get this information from the switch and put a test case that, okay, in our network we would like to make sure that this device is always a root, and then if it's not root, then either test case fail, or I would like to maybe not fail, but I would like to get notified via text message or something, you know. So yeah, something like this. Now later down the line, I was also thinking that we could have like trace pass test. And you know, the more I was thinking about it, the more it feels like CCIE lab or something. You know, you have all these tasks to configure something, but then most likely they have like this kind of tests running which are checking of if you indeed did it correctly or not. But you could just have it for our own networks. I don't see any reason why we can't have that. So yeah, this is what we are going to do today. So probably these two are going to be the first one. So we verifying that VLAN 10 and 20 exists on every switch, and then that DSW1 is root. Now the next one would be checking the cabling, so to verifying that our cabling is according to our docs. We will do that as well. This is actually, I wrote some code for that before for my Cisco Live presentation, so probably we are going to use some of that so that we don't waste a lot of time. Yeah, so let's actually get started. Let's actually, before I jump into like writing code and stuff, let's think through like what kind of tools we are going to use. So if you probably know me personally, you know that I don't like Ansible very much. We are, you know, probably like I am one of the biggest haters on the internet of Ansible as a network automation engine. My tool of choice is Nornir, so this is what we are going to use today to manage connections and manage like concurrency, so that, you know, our tasks are going to different devices without us writing some multi-threading or async IO code or something like that. We also have inventory abstraction which is provided by Nornir. So we are going to do that. Now, as a first step, I'm going to do it very dumb. That I'm going to just write code which just does like static checks. Probably we are also going to have like our own regexp. Then one of the steps how you can improve it would be, okay, let's not write our own regexp, but use TextFSM templates which are somewhere on the internet, like NTC templates repo. So this would be one step to improve it. Then the next step would be, okay, if our devices support netconf and restconf, we may not even have to do any kind of parsing. We can get the data automatically from Yang model. Another thing. Then maybe instead of like running our Python script, we could actually convert all of that to something like pytest. So all of that is being run by pytest, giving you very nice summary of what which test pass and which test fail. Then maybe you could even go one step further using something like robot framework. And the idea behind robot framework is that you convert your, it kind of like synthetic sugar how you define your tests. So instead of you know, kind of like all this code is very developer oriented, you could create a wrapper which allows you to put English sentences saying like verify 5 OSPF neighbors or something, So, or maybe, something else. So it allows you to do this kind of like language manipulations testing and language binding, so that it's very easy to like map this kind of like words to an actual code on actual variables. So you can use that, and then all of a sudden your tests are much more user friendly, so that anyone can read them, and if they are very well, they are English, so so much more easier. Then the last step probably would be using something like pytest framework, which was specifically designed to do network testing in the first place. But yeah, as I said, for this stream, I don't want to overwhelm myself and you folks. I want this to be so easy, so that you don't need to know so many other tools or things or frameworks or whatever, so that you can actually get started so much easier. And we actually had one stream about pytest, but I didn't do any kind of network testing there. Okay, so this was me talking. Now let's actually talk code, right? Because this is the main reason you are watching me, right? To watch me write some useful code. So I do have my project here in PyCharm, network programmability stream, and I forgot to make my font bigger, which I'm going to do now. So bear with me. Okay, we are good to go here. So let's create a new folder. We'll call it network testing. Okay, network testing. Actually, let's do hyphens. I don't like underscores. Network testing. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and let me change my directory here. Okay. So I'm going to activate my virtual environment here, and let's do. I want to see what are the libraries that are installed. Do I have Nornir? Yeah, I do have Nornir here. I have Django. So we will definitely need TextFSM and Nornir, RAML, YAML as well. Okay, let's do. First of all, is it Python 3? Oh, it's Python 3.7. You know what? I actually want to have Python 3.6. Just Python 3.6. Let's actually upgrade everything I need. So I will need TextFSM, I will need Nornir, I will need RAML YAML. I'm going to need something else. Well, pytest, let's do it. Okay, this should be enough for now. Okay, it will take some time. Actually, I'm not the biggest fan of the TextFSM. I think it's language. So for those of you who don't know, TextFSM is a Python package developed by Google, where you could define your regexp in interesting declarative format with some markers, and then it will convert your data to. It will parse your data basically. I mean, I think it's powerful, but I don't really like it. I think its syntax is actually pretty confusing. But we are going to use it anyway. Okay, I also upgraded pip here, so let's do this. So if I do Python, I should be able to import Nornir, which I can. Okay. Okay. By the way, if you have any questions or anything either related or not related to the stream, please do let me know. I always like to engage with my audience. Okay, we're good to go here. So you'll need to, since I haven't touched Nornir for quite a while actually, I will need to remember. I will need to remember stuff because I don't remember anything, like absolutely anything. So we will actually go ahead and get the Nornir tutorial. So let me think. I think it's tutorials. Yeah, this one. So you will need this. So let's do what, config YAML. Oh, config YAML py. Okay. Okay. So well, I can leave number of workers like 10. We'll have simple inventory, and yeah, we'll have hosts, groups, and defaults file. I don't think we need defaults. Yeah, we do need defaults. We do need defaults. Okay, so I will take this one, and so let's do what? Let's do inventory. This is going to be hosts YAML. Wait, what? Nah. Wait, it's Ansible. What? Why is it Ansible? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so damn, this is also old. Here it is. So we have hostname, port, username, password. Okay, so let's do this. I don't need localhost anything. I will delete all of these Nornir prefixes. I think NOS is what, platform? Yeah, it's platform. And the platform is going to be Cisco iOS. You don't need to type anywhere. We do need groups though, so I think we will need groups. Group size P1, which is fine. Let me think. Okay, 41. Okay, we don't need this anymore. We actually don't need platform as well. Here, we're going to create like defaults or something. So defaults YAML. And here we are going to have username, which is admin, password, which is admin, and then platform, which is Cisco iOS. why I okay. Okay, I don't need all of that. I need the krk as w1. Yeah, so this guy should be short interface brief. It's 21. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need site. But this is going to be in the group krk, and I don't need this. Okay, so yeah, you have two groups, krk and ASP1, which are, oh, those should be host names. Okay, now I can create many of those. So ASW2, DSW1, which is 23, 24, and 25. Now this one is DSW2, and this one is H1, and we don't need this. Okay, this is our inventory, pretty basic. For now it's fine. We are going to add other variables later. Okay. And we will also need the groups file as well. So groups YAML. Damn, why am I keep creating the py files? Okay, so let's go ahead and check the groups. Where is this? Groups. Okay, something like this. Okay. Okay, we have two groups. We have group called krk, and we have the group called ISP1. And they don't have any data, so those are going to be empty dictionaries. Okay. Okay, I think we're good, more or less. I think this should be, no, I think this should be fine. Yeah, okay, we are good. So we do have our inventory Nornir now. Okay. So we have to, well, first I have to run it and make sure that it's working. I have to do this. So from Nornir, init Nornir. So if this works, and also I have to install another thing. So I really like IPython and IPGB. So I'm going to install that as well. And we need a scratch file, but we actually have a scratch file here. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so if I do IPython now, Schloss Bgosh, thank you very much for following. Okay, now it yells at me saying that, dude, not correct, because I'm in the wrong directory. Okay, let's try this again. So let's run this. Okay, and we actually have our stuff. So I'm kind of like checking the I'm checking that everything is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, I do have username and password, and I do have platform. Okay, so this is actually working fine. So my usernames and passwords are we are getting those from our default file. So we are actually good to go here. Okay. So I can go ahead and run already something. I could run like show up interface brief on every device, which I'm going to do to make sure like that my Nornir script is working fine. Okay, let me think. I think like we'll have like main py, or maybe what? Let me be like run py. Okay, and this is going to be this stuff on the left. Why it's not? Oh, okay. You have to fix that bug. Okay. I feel like I'm getting worse at writing code. Like I didn't do any kind of coding for a week, and I feel like I am slower than usual. Okay. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to say we will create a task which will be something like let's do commands, and this is going to be show up interface brief, and maybe that's all for now. Just show up interface brief, and get data, get okay, let's do the following. So first of all, we have to let me think. I would like to have the safe, I would like to get the facts like we can get from Napalm. Let me get an example here. Okay, I say get facts, and then this is going to be task, and this is going to be, here we are going to use Napalm. Oh, by the way, no, we are good. So first variable is task, and then we have to do this. So result is task. No, this is incorrect. I think this is Nornir instance. Or you know what? I'm going to do this. So I'm going to set trace and then return. So we will need nr.run, and we are going to run I think I want to add more groups here. So I would like to add groups saying like switch or something. So let's go ahead to hosts, and here on top of KRK, I'm also going to add that this is a group, let's say KRK L2 or something. Okay, so these 4 switches are actually switches. Okay, so then we will need to I keep forgetting things. Okay, so plugins task networking. Here we are going to need task is going to be networking napalm get, and then getters. Okay. For G in getters, I think it's facts. Oh, it was right here in front of me and I just couldn't see. Okay, so in our run, so this is going to be a result, and we will also have to say for Nornir don't remember. Where is this function? And we'll have print result, something like this. So we are going to run, you know, everything on the whole inventory. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. So I should be in correct directory, which I am, and then I should just run this Python script. Key error KRK L2. Okay, so I didn't specify this group here. So KRK L2. Can I import Cisco iOS? Is library installed? Ooh. Okay. Okay, bear with me. Netmiko, thanks. This is actually unfortunate. So napalm Cisco iOS. iOS, okay. Okay, let's try this again. It's actually taking a long time. Oh, I am an idiot. I'm sorry, folks. I am a complete idiot. I mean, it would be good to run it here, but... And hold on, my camera is not focusing anymore. It's not getting better. Okay, good. Yeah. I am such an idiot. I mean, it's great that I want to run it here, but I can't do that because my management machine is in different place. Damn it. Okay. I have to remember how I can transfer this stuff there. I think there was something like auto deploy or something. Okay, I can ping it. Okay, it can connect. And okay, now if I go here, I have to say where is it? Okay, the folder is right here. Python 3. Why we have so old Python here? Find versions. Find global 366 Python. Okay, have correct Python version. Also have to double check if there are like excluded paths. So we will have to This will take a while. I think so. Yeah, so now would be a good time for questions while we are waiting for this to finish. So yeah, if you don't understand what is happening, I was running my initial script on my local machine, but it has no direct management connectivity to network devices, so it's just stupid. You know what? While it's doing its thing, I'm going to modify my script a little bit. So what we can do here is, I kind of don't remember 100% the how the manipulation is done. Let me double check the docs. Okay, so I have here task variable, and task has host, and I leave. Okay, you can call other tasks from within the task. Okay, this is what I want. So I would like to cache the facts on the first run or something. So task run commands, remote command, available memory, command free -m. Yeah, I think I will have to do this. So it's a task that's run, and then I also have to remember how to deal with the results, since okay, task R, and then task host config. Okay, so then task host, let's say facts is going to be r.result. Okay, task run networking napalm configure. Okay, this looks good. So yeah, we are just saving stuff, and then here we are going to so something like this. So what this allows us to do is, and I also will drop to the debugger here. So we are going to get the tasks, the facts using the napalm library, and we are going to save these facts as in the task.host, and then I'm going to just print result, and then I'm going to import IPDB so that I can inspect the variables, so that I can inspect the variables basically. Okay. It still keep going. The virtual environment copying. Okay. So meanwhile, I think we could no, this will not work. I'm thinking about like the next steps since we are stuck until this is done. Okay, we are almost there. It's just taking forever. I'm thinking how to abstract the next step. So what we need is, we need gather commands, parse them, and do something with that. Okay, so I'm thinking we will not be able to do it without TextFSM. So there is one more or less new feature that exists in Netmiko. What does blah blah blah. Yeah, we will need that. So this is done. Still not done. This is unbelievable. So let's do git clone this. At this point you should have NTC template index in the following directory. Okay, and we will export this. Okay, cool. and then you use send command and use TextFSM true. Okay, I need that. So then, okay. Where is everything? Oh, okay. So Cisco IOS show spanning tree. Show spanning tree. Okay. What if you do show spanning tree here? Yeah. This is what I need. So we can do show spanning tree. Well, this is the only thing I really need actually. I'm not sure how if it's working or not working, but we'll see now. It still keep going. Really? I'm sorry folks, it's just taking too much time. Yeah, I can't wait any longer. I'm not that patient. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to create a virtual environment. Okay, so now I'm going to say -m vnf.env. Okay, now I can say vnf, source vnf pin activate, and then pip install upip Netmiko text, pip install TextFSM, FSM roaml yaml Netmiko napalm Nornir. So now I should be able to run my script, hopefully. So network testing, Python run py. What? God damn it. Okay, Python run py. No module named IPTB. Pip install IPTB IPython. Okay, so let's look at this. Huh. So we have fax, FQDN, hostname interface list, software version, serial number. Nah, that's not many facts. I wanted to have some like detailed facts. But let's run this again. Okay, so those facts should be saved to in our inventory hosts. Let's say char k is w1, and then data, and then let's print this data. Okay. Oh wow. Yes, this is actually a mistake. You see, I have double key here, facts. So then the way it should be like this. So then this should be correct. But anyways, it's not like there is a lot of info here. I thought I'm going to get like IP address list or something, but I don't get those details. Okay. Okay, let's think this through. So I'm going to need to get, well, first of all, I can check if we have here like get VLANs or something. I'm pretty sure you can get this info, hopefully, but to be honest, I don't see it here. Get MAC address table, get network instances, get route, get users, get probe results. Okay, I don't think it went anywhere. Okay, then you would need, let's check if there is a network to code template. So there is show VLAN template. It should be enough. So I would say Netmiko send command. Okay, let's do def get VLANs or something. Okay, task. To be honest, this should not be task itself. I think it should take Nornir. So here we'll say hosts are Nornir filter, and then we will say let me get an example. So inventory, filtering inventory, site role, child, children of group. Okay, so nr See, I don't think this is actually helpful. First, you need to import the F object hosting group image. Okay. And then we'll say this. Okay, and here we have to say that, say R is equal to hosts run task is equal to networking Netmiko send command, then common string is equal to show VLAN, and then we have to say that use TextFSM true. Okay, and this should give us the structured data for this. So can I just print? Yeah, I think I should be able to just print result here. Okay, something like this. So I'm filtering all my switches based on KRK L2 group, and then I'm running networking and Netmiko send command show VLAN use TextFSM true. So damn, it still keeps going. Okay, I killed it. I couldn't, it was unbearable anymore. Let me see if, yeah, this is updated. Okay. Okay, so let's run this again. Host run task. Use TextFSM true. Get VLANs requires one positional argument. Let's see. This actually didn't work. Oh, haha. Yeah. Okay. It should work. Echo net text FSM. Okay. Let's run our stuff again. Nice. Okay, good. So this is awesome. So I can now take this data and massage it a little bit and then get the required data. So we can say like get non-default VLANs or something. get STP stats. Show spanning tree. Is this even correct command? Show spanning tree. Yeah. Show spanning tree, get STP stats, blah blah blah, the same stuff, and then get STP stats. Okay, let's run this now. And then we'll have to massage the data. So, well, I guess we have to kind of like start adding our tests. So let's create a folder called tests. And then I think we will have to like create one folder per every test, since no, I think we can create just one file. So krk VLANs py. Okay, and then krk let's say stppy, something like this. By the way, how is our script doing? Oh, nice. We can actually see here that it says no, this is not it. Okay, this is actually more unfortunate. Since this is giving us interface statistics, and I'm looking for like the whole spanning tree statistics. I think we will need to modify our TextFSM template in order to get this done, since I want to be able to say, okay, this switch is a root or something. Okay, let's do first with the VLANs. So for VLANs, we will have to define data in some format. You know what? No, actually, I don't like this. Or, okay, we'll do this as well. So, krk VLANs YAML. So this, why I keep forgetting about the name. So in this YAML file, I would like to say that I'm looking for let's say VLANs VLAN ID 10 and I'm also thinking I want this to be also as declarative as possible. Let's do this. Okay. krk L2 VLAN ID 10 VLAN name is ID. VLAN ID is 20. VLAN name is finance. Okay, so something like this. So this is going to be our declarative file, and this is going to be our actual test file. So here we will need a function something like I can just say test, and this function should take an R as an argument. Another thing that we should do is we need our YAML converter. So from YAML import YAML, and then save. So then this test will say let's do CFG. We'll say that YAML load KRK VLANs YAML. Okay. So we load our CFG, we'll load our group. We're saying that group is going to be in our filter. So hosts is going to contain our group. So this is CFG group. Okay, and now we should say that VLAN data is going to be equal to nr run task is networking dot Netmiko send command command string this. Okay, and then result. Well, no. Get data task. Task host task host VLANs should be equal to no, this is not correct. Okay. So no, I don't like this. We'll have to say here task host VLANs is going to equal to VLAN data. Hey J all 97. So I'm trying to create tests for network infrastructure. The idea that you define, your design requirements or your test requirements, and yeah, this script is supposed to go ahead, run it against infrastructure and tell, yes, my infrastructure is correct, in this case VLANs, or not, right? And you're just writing one of the tests here. But I do have some issues here which I don't see yet. So okay, so we are going to run this function. We are going to pass this in our argument. I'm going to run task get data. Get data is running this command show VLAN, use TextFSM true, and result. As a result, task host VLANs. Okay. So then we are feeding this data into this function, which is not written yet, and then we are going to save it as task host VLANs. And then we are going to compare if this is the same or not. So yeah, I will have to look at the data now. So I have to convert this data to that data. So let's excluded VLANs are 1001, 1002, 1005. Okay. So here we are going to say that our result is going to be this. Not cool, since we will have to, since we are going to say if those two lists are the same, we have to make sure that the order is whatever it is. So Python compare two lists without order. So I think we will have to convert those two sets. But this is dictionary, and dictionary can be converted to set. Huh. Well, as a backup plan, I think I can sort them by ID or something. It should be fine. Okay, so let's do this. We will return sorted from result, where the key is lambda VLAN int from VLAN, int from VLAN, no, Python it operator item getter. Oh, okay, it should work. So from operator import item getter. So then this thing is going to be item getter from no, this is not correct. Should have done it with lambda. Yeah. Lambda VLAN. This should be in from VLAN ID, I guess. Okay, so this makes sure that our order of VLANs is ascending by ID, which is what we need. Now here's another interesting piece, is that this is integer, and we will have to have that as a string. Well, we will get that as a string, so yeah, damn it. I can actually change it back to item getter, since we will have to convert that ID to integer anyway. So let's try creating that. Where is this output? So we'll have to take name and VLAN ID from here. VLAN data. No, I think it's better to do a for loop. So for VLAN data in data, we will say that name is going to equal VLAN data name. Well, ID is going to be equal to integer from VLAN data VLAN ID. Okay, now we can remove these double quotes here. Okay, now if ID not in excluded VLANs, then result, so VLAN ticked is going to be ID is equal to ID. And then name is equal to name. And then we will have to append this, so result append VLAN ticked. And then at the very end we are sorting that. So then we get the data in the format we need. Now here we are getting this data from the network device. I haven't noticed that half of my head was cut, so it should be better now. So we are getting the show VLAN command, use TextFSM. We take this as a result, and then we do process data. Can't do this. And then we save it as VLAN's key for each host. So then we run our test, we run this. So now we can actually write the test itself. So for host in hosts, hosts inventory hosts values, assert host VLANs is equal to CFG data VLANs. Okay. Okay. Before I run this, let's walk through this again. The test function is getting the NR argument. We are going to filter based on the group, which in this case defined here, krk L2. Then we are going to run the get data result. We are going to store all of these VLANs. So no, first of all, we run this command, we take the data and we process the data. We process the data where we are extracting name and VLAN ID. If it's not an excluded list, then we are appending to result, and then as the very last thing, we are sorting in the ascending order. So we return this, and then we save task host VLANs this thing. Now, after we do this, we go ahead through every single device, every single host, using host inventory hosts values, and then we are checking using assert if host VLANs is the same as CFG data VLANs. Looks correct, hopefully. Now the last piece would be an actual so we don't need this, we don't need that as well. You have to say from tests import krk VLANs. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work. So then here we'll say krk VLANs test nr, so something like this. So let's go ahead and run this, and let's see what it results. So let's do run. String indices must be integers. What is going on here? I can actually add this information back here, somewhere like excluded VLANs or something. Okay. Then this is going to be config. It's going to be config excluded VLANs or something. Okay, let's run this again. Why doesn't like it? String indices must be integers. Oh, I am an idiot. we are getting there. Okay, so okay. This is not good. I mean, we are loading config. I think this load should be run when somewhere here. So yeah, like somewhere here, we'll say config is equal to let's say load config file or something. So then we can use config here. We can use config here. We can't use config here. We'll have to pass it here. So data config. Then I can use config here, and we'll have to pass it here as well. Okay. Okay. So when this run in R, we first loading config, and then we can refer to it pretty much everywhere. Probably this function could be also moved to some different place, but whatever. I think right now we are good. So let's run this. Okay. This is interesting. So now it's saying I can't find it. Okay. Why not global config? Why not global config? The reason I don't want to do that, let me think. Why not global config? I think you could do that. The reason why I don't think it would be the best idea, since some, when we will start adding more and more tests here. For every single test, we'll have different group, different VLAN, different like data. And then if you try to like commit it to Git or something, everything will be in one single file, making it a little bit harder to, you know, to do like merging and branching, all of that stuff. I feel like the data per every test should be in its separate config file. But you could definitely do global config too. That said, now I have to fix my problem here. which is, well, I have to say pass from I think this will work. Oh, and name path is not defined. Oh, it's not a path, it's underscore file. Okay, something is going on. Nice, it worked. So let's actually do that. So in our test here we'll say, well, ideally I would need to have log, but I don't want to configure logging right now, so I would just print a message saying that test Parsing VLANs are correct, something like this. So let's run this again. What I meant, why not using config as a global variable? Why not passing it into every function? I was thinking to do that, and this was the direction I went at first. So I had like a variable here which was global, and the reason why I didn't want to do that was because how we run those tests right now. The way we run them, we are running them using this run py function, and we are saying here from tests import krk VLANs. So that config file will be read the second you do import, regardless if you actually run this test or not later down the line. So this is the reason why I moved it away from the global scope to, you know, to kind of like per test scope, if you will. Since that, you know, whenever you do import, yeah, we will run that code. So I didn't want to do that. Now we actually have a great results, I must tell you. So we're saying test passed VLANs are correct, which is just, I think, awesome. Let's go ahead and fail our test. I'm going to assume that my ASW1 is maybe it's my lab switch, right? And then I go ahead and configure a new VLAN, and let's go ahead and run our stuff again. I don't think we are going to get I don't think we are going to get a great error message. I think it will just fail, and it will not be very easy to see why. But let's just run it and see for ourselves. Yeah, we just get an insertion error. We don't, I see in which tests is failing, but at the end of the day, I'm just getting an insertion error. I think, you know, if I really want to do that, I could say try this well, or I can just do an if statement or something. So I can say no, if statement, yeah, actually if statement will be fine. So if this is matching, then if not matching, then we can say raise value error, saying that VLANs configured VLANs are this. So let's do let's do desired VLANs is this. So configured VLANs is host VLANs, and then we'll say if not configured VLANs is equal to desired VLANs, then configured VLANs is going to be this, and then we will also add host maybe. So let's do host.name has VLANs, configured VLANs, desired VLANs will be desired VLANs or something. And let's format it properly. And let's also do this. So host name has VLANs, but desired VLANs, and then we are raising a value error here. And then alternatively VLANs are correct or something. So let's go ahead and run this again. Okay, look at this. So now it's saying KRK ASW1 has VLANs this, but desired VLANs are this. Okay, and then here I am having the only test. You can say you can change this test routine a little bit, saying, you know what, I don't care about any extra VLANs. So I don't care about any extra VLANs. So then you would have to change this a little bit, saying, okay, as long as my desired VLANs are configured the way I want, then we are good. Let me also change this to wrapper string, so that this is going to be in quotes. So yeah, so this is now in quotes, and then we have this data. Now let's go ahead and remove that VLAN from the switch and say no VLAN 30. And then rerun our routine again. And now it says VLANs are correct. Now, yeah, so this is very basic test. I kind of decided to abstract like declarative logic a little bit. So you have kind of like your Python script that like a developer need to write, but you also have this, in this case, declarative file, which is so easy to change. Let's go ahead and, like in our network, we actually need to have a new VLAN called, what? I know only about IT and finance. I don't know. Oh, we'll have HR. Okay, so now we run this script again. It should obviously fail, and then we will go ahead and change config on our devices. So you could see it also could be an interesting way to approach your config changes as well. So you could first change your tests which will start describing your desired environment per se. And yeah, so here it says here are VLANs configured, but you need to have VLAN 30, which is HR as well. So I was saying that it also can change the way you approach your changes. So you could first go ahead and change your this declarative file, adding new stuff, which is so easy to interpret, so easy to see what are your network constraints, how your network is supposed to work. And then you run the test, you see it's failing, and then you say, okay, now I actually have to change my base template or whatever I need to change in order for this test to pass now. So this would be what is named in the software development world as test-driven development. So this would be kind of like very similar, but how would we call it? Test-driven network change, I guess, or infrastructure change. Did I just invent a new hype word? I should now do a patent for this word and then write a book, test-driven network configuration. Yeah, test-driven network changes or something. Squid Power Studios, hello, how are you doing, sir? Okay, so while our test is failing, I think we can go ahead and start adding this data. So I'm going to add this third VLAN everywhere. So here, but I will forget to add it on one switch. So I added it on 3 switches, but on Carcade DSW2 I forgot to add it because I'm a human and human make mistakes. Okay, so now I go ahead and rerun my routine, and now I configured all of my VLANs, so now we should be good, right? So I run my test and it still yells at me saying, no, you know what, you actually have still a problem. Your Carcade DSW2 doesn't have the VLAN, some VLAN or something. You could actually make it even more complex, like checking it one by one, and then if some element is not in another element, then you can crash. But I mean, it's really up to your imagination how deep you want these tests run. I think in this case it's fine. So our test reports that okay, Carcade DSW still doesn't have it. So let's go ahead and configure it now here, and then rerun our test. And then if you rerun now, you should pass this test and it should not error out here. And it says VLANs are correct. Okay, so I mean, we didn't get a lot of progress. I mean, it took me a long time to do this, but if you think about it, all new tests are going to be very, very similar. I mean, yeah, I mean, they are going to be very similar now. You could have some kind of like config file like here, and then then you will have very similar stuff here where you get some data from the device, you turn it into the data you want, and then you check if this data is what is configured or not. So I was previously having a cert error, but now I changed it to if statement so that I can erase a custom error. That said, that said, I really would like to use something like pytest framework. And let me also delete that. So I'm not, I mean, we are almost at 3-hour mark. I think I will try doing that, but I don't think I will get anywhere. So what we would need to do, we would need to move this to the conf test py file. I'm not really actually, I don't have a lot of pytest knowledge. I mean, I can write some pytest things, but I don't remember all of the internals. I remember that there is this conf test file. Local conf test file plugins contain directory-specific hook implementations. Session and test running activity will invoke all hooks defined in conf test files closer to the root of file system. Assume you have the following laid out of the file. Okay, so what is going to happen is I will have to define this function, and yeah, I would have to define this function. Let's try. This will change things a little bit. So conf test py. So in this file, I need to have this thing. No, I need more examples. Okay, I have installed pytest. Simple example of session scope features. I think it's clearest to just see this in action. Okay, so I will need this thing in my conf test file. After use true. So let's say init Nornir. Now this will have to, you'll have to import this thing. Session scoped fixture effectively has access to all collected test items. Here's an example of a fixture function which walks all collected tests and looks if their test class defines a call me method and calls me. No. You work on Sundays. Well, I do not know if streams are work, then I do work on Sundays. If streams are not work, then I do not work on Sundays. Pytest use fixture from test. During implementing your test, you realize that you want to use fixture function from multiple test files. You can move it to a conf.test.py file. You don't need to import fixture you want to use in test. It automatically gets discovered by pytest. The discovery of the fixture function starts at test classes and test modules, then conf.test files, and finally built-in and third-party plugins. Sharing test data. If you want to make the test data from files available to your tests, good way to do that is by loading this data in fixture or use by your test. Okay. Another good approach is by adding the data files in the test folders. Scope. Okay. Here is the example that I needed. So I import pytest. Let's walk through this. I import pytest. I then do whatever I have to do. I don't think, well, let's leave after use. I do not know what it does yet. So then I create a function and then I can return that. So I return that NR and then I can use this NR everywhere now. Okay. So then I rename the script a little bit. I say krk VLANs test, and then I can say test. Well, I will rename the whole thing, I guess. Test krk VLANs or something. So test krk VLANs. This gets this argument nr, okay, and it should get it should be you should be able to load it directly from here without any import, ideally, okay. So, and then I don't need this print statement anymore, and I don't need this at all. You know what, actually let me comment this out, and let me comment that out, and this as well, and then I will just assert configure VLANs and desired VLANs. Desired VLANs. Okay, so yeah, I think this is supposed to work. It's work if you do this for a client. No, I don't do it for a client or customer. I do it for myself, to do better network programmability. So probably then it's not really work. Okay. So then if we do this here, then this assert should work the way I think it should work. So let's actually go ahead and try this. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but I'm very curious. So if I pytest test krk VLANs, nice. So now I converted this to pytest, and it actually says to me, okay, one test passed in 6 seconds. I was able in six seconds I was able to verify my VLANs on every single switch in my network. I do have 4 switches, but still. Now let's go ahead and again break one of the switches. Okay, so I'm going to remove VLAN 30 now. And let's rerun this again. So this is running, and now you can see that it's actually failing. Now there are a couple of things that oh, here, assertion error, assert write contains more items, first extra item is this. This is so cool. Now there is one additional piece that I would like to have is, so it basically says to me, hey, you don't have this VLAN configured. One additional thing that I would like to have is to be able to see the exact host where it's failing. So let me try finding that. There's a question in the chat. What is that blue Firefox? It's Firefox Developer Edition. So it contains a little bit more developer tools. I do use it. I do use it mostly for my streams, but sometimes also for development. Okay, so pytest additional info in assertion error. I'm curious if I just add, so if I add here host failed for host, and then we'll say host name. So I don't know if this is going to be helpful, but I could try. Oh, nice. Look at this. So now I added this message and it says to me, assertion error, failed for host carcade DSW2. Write contains more items. First extra item. So it says assert configured VLANs, desired VLANs. And you can see that write contains more items. First extra item is this. I think it's pretty damn cool. So let me go ahead, you know what? Let me add VLAN 30, and my session just broke. Not good. Yeah, sometimes it happens. So I don't think I will be able to get my console back now. Yeah. Not cool. Well, but I still should be able to SSH, so hold on a minute. So if I do admin to 172.20, no, 192.168.122, and this should be 24. Yes, admin. Okay. So I have here's the switch. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add VLAN 30, but I'm going to just add the wrong name, okay? Okay, so this is done. And we will run tests again. And now it says, hold on a minute. Spirit Power Studios, thank you very much for following. Really appreciate it. So if you look on the, wow, this is so cool actually. Look at this. So now when it still fails and it says assert configured VLANs is not desired VLANs, failed for host, and then there is host name. Now it says to me which host was affected. Now it says at index 2 there is a difference. On the left hand side I have ID 30 and name wrong. On the right hand side I have ID 30 and name HR. So it pretty much tells me exactly what is incorrect. I think it's just awesome. Really think it's just cool. So now let me go ahead and I will need to do reload here. Okay, so now I will go ahead and configure the VLAN properly, and I will rerun my test suite. So I rerun this test suite and it should just give me dot, and it says one test passed in 5.72 seconds. This is awesome. Let me see how much time we are already streaming. Okay, so we are recording for almost 3 hours. So that said, I really would like to add some additional test or something. Maybe a quick one. Let me think. Show run user. Okay. Something like get users or something. Show users. Show AAA or something. User. Show AAA local user. Nah, not user. I'm thinking I would like to do one more quick test, but nothing is just yeah. Any ideas, folks? Something that would be quite simple to do. I think I can actually fall back to my spanning tree idea. I think it will be fine. So let's do so test char k stp, and then test char k stp YAML. Oh no. Test char k stp YAML. Yeah. Okay. So group is going to be the same. Now we will not have this, and we will have let's do VLAN data. Let's do VLAN 10, and we'll have char k dsw dsw1 is data stp root VLANs 10 something like this. Okay, so we are saying that okay, these switches are supposed to be our root for VLANs 10 and 20. Okay, so somehow I have to generate this. Yeah, it's going to be different, unfortunately. I can still say excluded VLANs though. Let's do excluded VLANs will be 1 or something. Okay, so then what we need to do here, we have to do show spanning tree command. No, we will actually need show spanning tree VLAN 10 or something. Oh, you know what? I actually don't need that. I'm going to get these numbers and run this command only for these two VLANs. So let's change our code a little bit. Yes, this is going to be different. I think we will need actually like test cark stp in our config. Let me move that file to right hand side. Move to the opposite group. Okay, the command that we are going to do will be show spanning tree VLAN and then VLAN name or something. So, well, VLAN ID. So task config, I think, get okay. I will also need some kind of like global variable or something. So get yes, this is also incorrect. I mean, we may end up in a situation where you have like multiple switches being root. So this should be actually a list. Okay, stp root VLANs 10, 20, and yeah. Okay, test cark stp get update stp info or something. This is not going to be it. Yeah, this is not going to be it. Update stp info. Let's do stp stats or something. So for VLAN ID in config stp root VLANs yeah, this we are going to do this VLAN ID result. Now we will have to parse this data and let's do show spanning tree VLAN 10. We have to parse this for these breaches of the root. So we will say if this in data, well, I can actually say output. If this breach is the root in output, then stp stats let's do update STP root, okay, and then STP root. STP stats, STP root. No. Okay. Okay. Now we have to create these STP stats though. So STP stats is going to be somewhere here. And this is going to be a dictionary STP root from collection. Kim Jong-un, hi there, how are you doing, sir? Default dict. Okay, so STP stats is STP root, and then VLANs, and then VLANs and then VLANs itself is going to be a default dict from list. Okay. Update STP root, STP stats is equal to this, configured STP stats, config is equal to config, and then desired HTTP stats is config data. Okay, and then the only thing that we are going to do is going to be assert configured and stats is equal to desired HTTP stats. Okay, now let's walk through this again. Oh, this is incorrect. So test krk STP YAML. So I'm loading config. I'm loading config here. I'm filtering. I'm doing default list. And then also I will have to convert this to dictionary. Desired NTP stats. Configured NTP stats is default dict list. Host run update STP root. Okay, here for every VLAN in the config STP root VLANs, we are going to run this command show spanning tree VLAN ID, and if this breaches the root in the output, then STP stats STP root VLANs VLAN ID append. Okay, this looks good to me. So let's actually go ahead and run this. I'm very curious about results actually. I don't. Okay, yeah, it's not working. Okay. Where is it failing? This config stp root. What is going on here? Test krk stp yaml config group. Config. Oh, is it because of the data? To be honest, I actually don't need this config. I just need VLAN list. Let's do VLAN VLAN IDs or something. So for VLAN ID and VLAN IDs, and then here, when I pass it here, I will say config data. So let's do this. Desired STP stats is going to be config data. And then desired STP stats the VLAN IDs is equal to desired STP stats STP root VLANs keys or something. Okay, let's format this a little bit and rerun again. So let's see. Nice. So we just ran 2 tests, and in under 7 seconds we were able to check that our spanning tree is fine and our VLANs are fine. Now there is one thing that is bothering me though. No, I think it's actually fine. Let's go ahead and change this a little bit. So show run spanning tree. Okay, I'm going to say spanning, no spanning tree VLAN 20 priority 0, and then show run spanning tree. Okay, so then this guy is not going to be the root anymore for VLAN 20. So yeah, you see it doesn't say here anymore. So the second switch is going to be the root. So show spanning tree VLAN 20. This says this bridge is the root. Okay. So now if I rerun my tests, it should fail, and it should tell me that okay, no, this is not what I have. So look at this. It says differing items STP root default dict list. Yeah, this is a little bit hard to read though. STP root maybe, and then here we'll say I think I would like to remove the no, it's fine. So configured STP. So here I will say STP root VLANs, and on the right hand side I'm going to do the same. So let's run this again. Now it says to me the look at this. It says to me differing items. On the left hand side I have VLAN 20 KRK DSW2. On the right hand side I have VLAN 20 KRK DSW1. Okay, so it's basically telling me exactly what the problem is, which is just cool. Let me revert back and we will wrap up the stream for today. So I'm going to go here and say spanning tree VLAN 20 priority 0. Okay, I'm going to rerun my tests. So I'm rerunning my tests here. And they are passing. Now, yeah, so that's awesome. Once I fixed my error on the switch, it's actually coming back up. The tests are all green. So one interesting piece here, let's actually do wrap up. And folks, if you have any questions, please do let me know in the chat while I'm doing wrap up for today's stream. So one very interesting piece here is the running time. Together with Nornir plus pytest itself, this just runs super fast. I mean, we ran 2 different tests with 2 different set of commands. Actually, in this STP test, there are actually 2 commands. In this test, we had only 1. So in total 3 commands on every switch. And it took 7 seconds to run all of the tests and to tell us if everything is okay or not. I think it's just amazing. The runtime and the accuracy, with a framework like pytest, it actually points you to an exact point of your data difference, okay, something like this. And I could always make my data more explicit. I mean, if I wanted to change the data here, to do it like something like, okay, VLAN ID is 10 and then roots are this list or something, I could also do that. It's not a big deal. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So let's do wrap up my thoughts about network testing in general, as well as what we have done today. So I think network testing is a low-hanging fruit for network automation use cases together with day 0 provisioning. The main reason why that it's not hard to do. You can start doing with you can start building it regardless of your knowledge of the tools like pytest and Ansible and some other tools. You can start at any level as long as you know how to connect to the device using Netmiko or some other frameworks, whatever libraries. You can write your test routines. Second of all, tests are carry less risks than other network automation tasks. The main reason why that you don't do any config changes. So the risk of you breaking something is actually really minimal. As a result of you writing tests, at any point in time you can say, my network is working as documentation says, and working according to my constraints. I mean, in this case, I just created 2 tests. One test which was let me compare all VLANs configured on my switches to my list of VLANs and their names. If there is any discrepancy, then I would like to know about it. This is fail test. Also, I did a test for spanning tree route where we go to every switch on our network and say, okay, let's see if you are root for some VLANs or not. The tests are really up to your imagination. Nothing is stopping me from defining a test for cabling. For example, let's actually have our documentation, how the cabling is supposed to be done, compared to what CDP or LDP says. This will be our test. Another example of test could be, okay, this particular router is supposed to have this particular OSPF neighbors or BGP neighbors or whatever, or this route, the next hop for this particular route should be always this IP address or something. I mean, really up to your imagination. Whatever constraints are in the network, you can write code for them and as a test, and you can run that test anytime you want. Another interesting piece would be something like a trace route. So you could actually run a test which will go ahead to some device and do a trace route or ping or do a telnet to specific port to check specific connectivity. So you can add even that, and you can test your services this way in a consistent, automated way. At any point in time, you can run them. Do you want to run them on schedule? Boom, you can run them as cron job. Do you want to run them before you do any change in the network? Boom. So do it before change and after change. Compare the difference. And you will always be able to always be able to say how reliable your network is. I mean, obviously you can't know beforehand all of the tests that you need to have, but you can build this database of your tests and over time you just add more and more. Okay, so on this stream we just added 2. Okay, but then I can add more. For example, examples that I told you: cabling, my routes and my routing table, how number of BGP OSPF neighbors, trace route. Okay, software version. You can always have your network and document it somewhere what is the software version that is supposed to be, or some constraints like, okay, in our network we must run not more than 2 OSs, 2 different software versions, or 1. Okay, you can write test for that and always run it and always generate some kind of report for you, saying, okay, yes, our network is running according to our spec or not. Okay, is it on schedule? Is it before and after you change? It's really up to you. But I do believe that it is a low-hanging fruit. You can start with almost any level of your network automation knowledge. You don't need to know like everything. You don't need to know a lot of complex tools. You can start building something with just bare minimum Python knowledge or some other programming language knowledge. So on today's stream, we looked on a way to write tests in Python and Nornir. So Nornir is a Python automation framework which I really like. I use it all the time instead of Ansible, in this case, but I mean, even if I didn't know Nornir, I could do the same thing with like a for loop in Python or something if I really wanted to. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. In this case, I selected Nornir as I am very familiar with it, and I know how to do things using it. So I was using Nornir, and then I was using Netmiko send command module with some command, and for VLANs I was using a TextFSM library, which is a library which allows you to declaratively specify your regular expressions, how you should parse a file. So I was using this Netmiko plus TextFSM parameter, which was doing automatic parsing for me of the output. And then I wrote this very simple test where it was just comparing configured VLANs to desired VLANs, and those desired VLANs were in the file, and the format of the file is really up to you. So if you see the previous version was, I would just had the if statement, I raised a value error, and then if there is no error, there is just a print message at the very end. Now this was running fine, but I wanted to to do something better. So then I switched to pytest, which is de facto standard in Python testing world. I had to do some changes. So instead of this runner py function, I had to move this thing basically to a conf test py file and move it as a what is called fixture, and fixture is some kind of data that is reused between different tests. So I had, basically it's what, 4 additional lines of code that I had to define here. I had to import pytest. I had to say that it's a fixture for the whole testing session, define a function with the name of the variable, and just return this. Okay, this is pretty much the only thing I did. And then in my test files, I was using this as an argument, and if your argument is named the same as a function, as a fixture function, then it will be automatically imported for you. So I was doing that, and then I was changing my if statements to assert statement. And pytest is very smart when it's doing assert, and if assert is incorrect, it will actually tell you, if let's say you're comparing a list on the left hand side and on the right hand side, it will convert it will compare those structures element by element and tell you exactly what's different if there is a difference. And I specified here even a custom error message adding the host name information where we were having problem with VLANs. Let me actually go ahead and find it. Look here. So I was saying, no, actually not here. Here, assertion error failed for specific host, and then it says the item on the right hand side contains an extra item, and on the left you don't have it. So basically it told me exactly the point in my data structures where there is a difference, and failed the test. As a last piece, I added the additional test, and I showed you how this fixture is actually reused between these different tests, resulting in us having very short, very efficient execution of the tests in very short time frame. Basically, in 7 seconds, we were able to run 2 tests because we were reusing this Nornir fixture, which opens and closes connections for us and stuff like that. So whenever you run like a new test, because of the way how Nornir works and how pytest is working here, we were opening connection once to devices and then keeping them until the test session was done. So this allowed us to run our test so efficiently in just 7 seconds. Good luck doing that with Ansible, by the way. I mean, you can still run tests with Ansible, don't get me wrong, but it will not be that fast. So now you can just add the new test files here in this folder and keep running and keep your pytest running, or run it whenever you want, or on schedule, or whatever, and always get the latest data about how your network is performing. So bottom line is that I do believe that network testing is very overlooked area, and you as a network engineer out there, you could use this as a playground for your network automation journey. Even if you don't know a lot, you can start writing some kind of Python code which will test some kind of network constraints and network requirements for you. Without any config changes, without stuff like that, you could actually feel very comfortable doing that in your production environment, and already bringing the value of network automation to the table. Yeah, with that said, I think this is all I wanted to cover. I don't see any more questions. Very small reminder is that this is the last stream of this week, of this year. And I'm preparing one exclusive for you. I hope I will be able to make all of the required arrangements. But if it's going to happen, I think a lot of network programmability folks, as well as people who have nothing to do with network programmability, will find it useful. Okay, with that, I would like to thank you very much for continuous support, for joining the streams, engaging in the chat, watching my recordings, engaging me on Twitter or real life, challenging me every so often. I do appreciate it. So thank you very much. I wish you happy holidays, happy new year, and I see you next year. Thank you very much. Bye everyone.